Hello, friends. Very good afternoon. It's such an awesome feeling to see such a large audience on a Saturday afternoon. So, we'll do a quick sound check. If I'm audible, please type in a yes. And it'll also help if you can type in your city so that we know from where all we have people today. Or even if you only type your city, that's fine because I know you I'm audible in that case. Awesome. We have people from all over the country today joining us. So welcome all of you. Welcome Stockage users, Stockage basic members, Stockage club members. You are most welcome today. And today I'm very excited because I am introducing my partner, and together we have created this app called Stockage. So my name is Vineet Patavri, and I'm your host for today. And I'm glad to introduce Mr. Vinay Pagaria, who is the creator of Stockage app in every true sense. And he's such an awesome combination of finance and tech that I would gladly say that he is one of the most unique combination available in the country who has the skill set in both finance and technology. So he is by qualification a chartered accountant, but he is master of technology. So the tech which you see behind Stockage is all because of Vinay. The beautiful interface, a lot of people are saying that it's brilliant, etc. The beauty of Stockage is because of Vinay. And one of the biggest, I would say, unlike what I am talking today, the best part of Vinay is his humbleness. When you will hear from him very soon, you will see that whatever I'm saying seems like flattery to him. But I trust and I believe in everything what I'm saying. A lot of people might have met him because he have gone to multiple cities to present things on workshops and webinar workshops and boot camps. So you might have met him also. So I'm very glad we have people from all over the country. And I will now hand it over to my partner Vinay to take this awesome session on Stockage forward. So over to you, Vinay.
Hello, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Yeah, hi. So we have many of you. Thank you so much, Vineet, for introducing me. The agenda for today would be looking at Stockage and the various features it has. Most of you have already deeply navigated through Stockage multiple times, and that's why we exist. But what I would try to do is take you through various features within the app. And okay, audio is not clear. Okay, let us just retest the audio. Please let us know if the audio is now better. Previous audio was clear. Okay, am I audible? Is this better now? Okay, the voice is low. We'll try to resolve it. Just give us a minute. Is this better now? Okay, I have repositioned the mic and I'll try to speak also a little louder. Will this work? Okay, yeah, great. So I'm beginning. In case there are audio issues, please interrupt and let me know. Great. So can all of you see Stockage on screen? Yeah, so what we will do is we will take you through Stockage, the various features in it. I'm sure most of you have used Stockage, the various features inside it, but there are a lot of features which you actually may not have seen. There are minute, intricate things without inside each option, which you may or may not have seen. So the objective of today's session will be entirely to take you through all the features one by one. Although I'll focus more on the features which you have unlocked by subscribing. Today only subscribers are here. So I'll focus on the paid features more than the free features. Right. So we will begin with the very first feature that we all see whenever we download Stockage, which is daily updates. I'll tell you the logic behind the various screens that we have put. And I would request you all not to send me immediate feedbacks or questions. We will do that during the last half an hour session. But if something comes up in the mind, you can write that down. That's not an issue. But I'll answer towards the end. So we will start with daily updates. As you all know, the objective here is to get a quick snapshot of what's going on in the market. We have a dedicated research team whose objective is to filter out all the newspapers, all the news screens on internet and figure out which are the most important news that is relevant to a trader or an investor. And then the most difficult objective is to put that news in one single sentence because we believe each one of us has paucity of time. We do not have much time and there are certain important things which you should not miss out on. So we recommend just go through the screen at least once during the morning session, just before it. Around 9 o'clock or 9:15, we update all the news section and you can just scroll this down and figure out if any news is relevant to you. To make things easier, we also highlight the sector to a small icon on the right side. You can see the first one is the banking sector news. So any of you who have major interest only in specific sectors can figure out very quickly that this particular news is related to financial sector because we have a rupee icon here which is belonging to the financial sector. Now any of these news items you can click and we can navigate to either of three places. One is the respective stock to which the news pertains to. The second is the sector which is banking and the third is the industry. So if I get into the stock, this is one single screen where we can have a 360-degree view of any stock that we have. So I'll get into this up next, but let me just go through all the screens of daily updates first. Now the second screen here on daily updates is announcements, which is the official announcement that the exchanges, the companies are providing to the exchanges and it is coming to us directly through the exchange pipeline. So we have all the important announcements for each of the companies and here too you can directly get into the company and look at the detailed message that the company has given to the exchange as an announcement. So the first section news comes from our team, announcement comes directly from the exchange and through to the our software. The second section is forthcoming events where our team tries to put in which are the most relevant events that are coming up which may have a major impact in the market. So there is some court case pending in Supreme Court. Probably there's a hearing on Arcon to pay Ericsson rupees 550 crores. So this comes as a reminder, a quick reminder, so that any of you having interest in this can have a look at it. Then we have forthcoming corporate actions. Corporate actions here include bonus, split, and any consolidation, any dividend announcement, and the Thursday 4th October is the X date, and here too you can click and get into the stock. The next is results. So upcoming results for companies, we update it here. The results day and a couple of days before and after it are very crucial for any stock. So this gives you a quick look at what are the various stocks in which results are coming up. Whenever there is a huge list of results coming up, what we try to do is put the most relevant on top. And how do we decide on this relevance? The relevance is decided by the market cap of the company. So if today there are 100 companies which are going to give results, the most important or the most highest market cap company will come on the top. Then we have the market section, which gives a quick snapshot of yesterday evening's, which means the previous trading snapshots of the various indices that we have in NSE and BSE. Now this screen, if I go back on the home page, can also be navigated by clicking on this Nifty section here. You click on Nifty on top and you straight away reach the screen as well. So on the home screen, we see that the last 10 days Nifty has been falling, and here we show FII data as well. Now, if I want to know which sectors are performing and which sectors are not performing, the very next thing I should do is click on the tab here on the Nifty word itself, and you get Nifty 50 is falling, banking is falling, mid cap is falling, small cap is falling. The VIX, the volatility index, has been rising, but more or less every sector is showing a clear downtrend. Metal, you can see, has fallen by 5%. So the major sectoral indices you can figure out from here. Like everywhere else in Stockage, what we have tried to do here also is whenever you are having more questions on any particular data point that you see, all you need to do is click. And once you click, for example, on the metal sector, you straight away get into the metal sector and you can see what are the stocks and which have fallen the most or which have. So you see there are no gainers in metal for Friday. Every stock, every single stock in the metal sector, at least in this metal index, has fallen down with the highest fall coming on the top, Welspun Corp. So the idea of navigation in Stockage everywhere is wherever we have felt there are too many data points, what we tried to do is give the most relevant data on the top as a summary, and then you can click and you can get into more details of that, and you can go back to your main context. Coming back to daily updates, in the market, we also have a single screen snapshot. This is one of the most popular screens of Stockage. When we started, this is something we did. It was not there anywhere. And what it does is on a very simple screen, it shows what are the cash market positions of FII, the cash market transactions of DII. The green button here shows they have put in 3,200 crores and FII has taken out 1699 crores, followed by the derivatives data. Now, right here, it also shows the impact of FII on the Nifty. So there is a belief or there is a hypothesis that when Nifty goes up, whenever there is cash market, there is infusion of funds in the cash market by the FII and vice versa. But to validate that, you can click on this and get more details of Nifty over the various time frames. The last 7 days performance, if you want to see, you can see on the first screen, which is giving you day-wise data along with the Nifty movements. So it gives a very simple picture that most of these days, the FIIs have taken out funds and at the same time, Nifty has fallen. On 14th September, there was fund infusion from FIIs as well as DIIs, and you can see a Nifty gain here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this FII data that you see is provisional data. So what happens is on each day, the exchanges give us provisional data with respect to the FII transactions of that day, and based on that provisional data, we compile the statistics. The provisional data means it is an approximate data, it is not the final data. The final data for FII and DII is provided by SEBI through the two depositories. You can check it on their website. CDSL and NSDL website provide us the final FII data, but the problem there is it comes after a day. So what is most relevant for us is that if a provisional data shows a particular fund infusion, we need to figure out what is the exact number. Because sometimes that exact number may vary. For this purpose, what we have done is we show a CM SEBI column here. So if you look at CM provisional, this is the provisional data that has come for various stocks. The provisional data that has come for FII, and you can club this and look at the monthly picture as well as the annual picture. but each of these statistics is compiled based on this provisional data. Let us look what SEBI website says. When we go to SEBI information, if you see September 27 data is there, September 28 data is not yet published. It will probably come on the next working day. So there is a slight difference here. 621.71 is the data as per SEBI and 552 is the data as per provisional data provided by the exchanges on the same day. So whenever you are doing long-term analysis, we always recommend to look at the second tab, the SEBI tab, because this is the authentic data that is coming after all adjustments have been made with respect to FIIs trading with multiple brokers or not taking delivery positions in stock. So the final data that is coming, you should look at this screen. Now, apart from the secondary market data, this screen also gives us information about the primary market. Now, what is the primary market? If there are any IPOs or new share issues that are coming, that is not captured in the secondary market data, but it is captured in the primary market data. Further, it also gives us infusions by FIIs and DIIs in the debt market, and you can actually club both of them together, and you can also club both the markets together to look at an overall picture of what has been the net fund infusion or the fund outflow by the FIIs over the various years. So I hope my audio is clear. I am getting a couple of messages saying audio is not up to the mark. Can you just confirm if most of you can hear me? Yeah, some responses. Am I audible and is the voice clear? Okay, just give me a minute. I'll try. Native. Is it better now? Is this better? Far better? Okay, I'll continue with this one. Right, I hope I am sounding much better now. And we are yet to look at the most important features, so you haven't missed out on anything. Let me continue with this. So the next screen that we hear, which we see here, is the deals screen, and here we see the definition. Sorry, the bulk and block deals that various large investors are doing in the market. Now, many of us, I would say most of us, do not really know the exact difference between bulk deal, block deal. Right, so the bulk deal, block deal are specific sizes of deals which are prescribed by the exchanges, and any transaction that is done which is above these limits are termed as bulk deals, and they are made public by the exchanges for the information of the other investors. Whenever we have a question, Stockage tends to give an answer. You can look at this top right button here. We have a page info connected with every screen of Stockage, which will give you information about what bulk deal means. So if you are new to the markets or you are new to the software, you can just get into the details of information that we provide, which also includes the definition of the term, what kind of information you get it, how to use this, and how frequently we update any particular information. So bulk deal here you can see clearly is a deal or a trade when the total quantity bought or sold is more than 0.5% of the number of outstanding shares. So this helps us in understanding this. So if we see yesterday, Manish G. Lucky bought 25 lakh shares of Cerebra Integrated Technologies, and you also see a red flag here. This red flag means among the various bulk deals that we have, this is of relatively higher size, maybe more than worth 5 crores in a single deal. So in a single deal means all the deals of the same day taken together. So this is a huge amount and it may be relevant to us. Now from here we can also navigate to this company as well as to the investor and see the other bulk deals that have happened in that particular stock or the other deals that this particular investor has done. We'll look into it a little later, more in depth. We move on to block deals and insider deals. Some of you have had questions regarding some bulk deals missing in StockEdge. So I would clarify that position right now. That is on purpose. A lot of times what happens is the same individual buys say 10 lakh shares of a particular company at a particular price, and then later in the day sells it off for a small, very small margin. Now the reason of this not coming here is this deal becomes totally irrelevant to us as it is speculative in nature. So what we do here is for every individual investor and for every individual company, we figure out the total number of deals, the total number of transactions done by the person, look at the net value, and only if the net value of transactions is of a certain minimum size, then we try to show that in the app so that only the relevant information reaches you. Now we also have here insider data where you can see what are the insider deal information that we are getting from the exchanges, and the results data here. So the most important results that are getting announced, and you can click on the results and look at the results screen. Now getting into one particular stock, can I get a suggestion for the name of a stock which I can look at? So I'll show you how we can have a 360-degree view of all the stocks. I would want a larger stock, So ITC is a good suggestion I've got. And being the first suggestion, I'll start with ITC. So let's get into ITC. So I can get into a stock either by searching it from here. The recent searches are stored, or I can go to a stock by looking at the sectors. If I get into the sectors, you may have realized very recently in the previous release, we have improvised the sector section, and here we have put sectors as well as subsectors. So if I'm looking at say auto sector, once I click on auto sector, it gives me a choice. Either I can look at the entire auto sector, or I can click on certain specific industries inside the auto sector. So I can look or focus only on passenger car companies or only on ancillary companies. Once I get into ancillary companies, it shows me all the companies in the auto ancillary sector along with their market cap, and you can easily see that these are ordered by the highest market capital first. So we can enter into a stock via the sectors, via the index, or straight away from a search. So once we open ITC, we get a simple price chart. Earlier, whoever was a paid subscriber used to get the technical advanced chart, which we call the edge chart, instead of the price chart. But we got feedbacks, and based on the feedbacks, now we have given a choice that for anyone who has subscribed to any of our plans, they can look at the earlier chart as well as the edge chart. So you have a choice of looking whichever of the charts. The advantage of the first chart is that it is very simplistic and gives a very easy and quick overview of the overall price movement. Many of us are not technical analysts, and we may not really be interested in technical charts. So for them, this price chart adds huge value. However, anyone who wants to get into the detailed chart, the edge chart, that comes in the second screen. Right now, we have this second screen as a standard screen for everyone. There are no customization options. There are no default setting options, but we are thinking how in the next coming versions, may not be in the immediate next version, but within the next 2 or 3 versions, we will at least have some option of having default settings, or if not, at least what we will try to do is we will have the system remember your last used chart style so that you do not have that issue. However, I'll show you now what are the capabilities of this interactive chart for which you have paid. Now here, what you have is by default is a 3-month chart, which we have kept on purpose that the chart here would be a 3-month chart, because candlesticks on a mobile app are most clearly visible when we have a 3-month timeline. But you have a choice. You can change this to 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 1 month, or any of these. Suppose I get into a 6-month chart, you can just zoom it in or zoom out. That is one of the first features which is not available in the normal price chart. And we are very clear on the fact that we are showing only daily charts for now. We do not, I'm repeating, we do not immediately intend to give you live data. Stockage is not really meant for real-time analytics. Most of us have seen that we have focused on end of the day analytics, and we really encourage people to participate more in positional based tradings, or if they want to do intraday trading, Stockage can be a good tool for end of the day analytics. If in the future ever we will go for a real time software or not, that is very difficult to comment. But right now, the status that we have and the position that we have as a company is we want people to focus on end of the day analytics, and believe me, those who have done, most of them have given us very good feedbacks on the kind of returns that they have generated. So coming into more of the features of this particular tool, you can switch this between NSE and BSE by clicking this simple tab. And there are 4 type of chart options that are available, which you can change by clicking on this second tab here. This is the candlestick by default. We can convert it into a OHLC bar type, where it's not like candles but a simple line, and in many analysis this becomes easier to interpret. Or we can change it into a normal line chart or an area chart. So the candlestick is the most popular here. Now next option is we can do a lot of you know indicators. Whatever indicators we have in Stockage can be plotted here. So if I want to plot RSI, you just click on RSI and do a done, and there you see the RSI gets plotted here. So any of these indicators can be plotted on a daily range or can be removed as may be required. Now one feature we have here is the trend line. So let me remove the indicators and see how a trend line can help us. If I am going into any stock and I want to see what the trend is, you can click on this last bar, which is the line icon, is the trend line draw. As soon as you click on this, it tells you drag to draw. Now whenever we draw a line, usually what happens is you can draw a line from one point to another point. But we thought that on a mobile, to reach the exact high or the exact low of any particular candle is very difficult, because you are doing it with your finger or your thumb, and you cannot actually see what is behind or below underneath. So what we did was we made the default setting in snap mode. So what is this snap mode? The snap mode means whenever you try to plot, even if I click here, the system will snap itself to the nearest possible high or low, because that is how we would like to draw our trend lines by default. So if I just drag it down, you see it will snap itself and automatically attach itself to the nearest possible high or low, which can help us make the trend lines very easily on the mobile phone. I hope some of you would have recognized it, but many of you may not have known this. So try it out the next time. You have this first trend line here. I would like to plot a second trend line, suppose joining these two lows. So it's very simple. I just click and I do a quick slide, and there you go. The system automatically, as a magnet, tries to stick this line to the bottom, which you can clearly see it gets snapped to the bottommost point, right? Now, if you want that you do not want it the behavior to be like this, you want to draw a line from any point to any other point, you can click on this and change this snap option to not snap. So it changes to freehand mode, and then I can plot it from wherever I want to wherever I want. Now there is also an option to plot a horizontal line. How do I plot a horizontal line? Just click on the normal snap mode. Let the snap mode be enabled, and click on the first point and just release your, just don't drag it to the second point. If you click the first point where you click, automatically a horizontal line is plotted there, and you can easily see what was the high of this candle. So these are the various trend line options here. You can at most plot 4 indicators on a chart, at most plot 4 overlays on the price chart, or plot 4 trend lines on one chart. Now, why do we restrict this? Because performance on a mobile is very important, and our experience shows that when we try to plot too many things on this small mobile screen, there is a certain lag which comes out, and because of that lag the chart does not refresh very quickly. But the performance with 4 indicators is fairly good till now, and I think on a mobile screen this is sufficient data to be shown. So on the chart specific thing, I think I've shown you how to cover this. Android phone users can also uh, tilt their phone, change the orientation to landscape, and they will get a maximize screen option on the right side, through which they can look at the chart on a in a landscape mode also. This feature we have not been able to provide on Apple yet. We'll try and provide it on Apple as well as soon as possible. Let's move forward. I'll take you to the deliveries tab. Now for positional trading, the one of the most important factors is deliveries, which suggests how much quantity got actually delivered at the end of the day. Now this information comes only at the end of the day, so there cannot be real-time analytics of this, and people who want to make their calls, the trading or investing calls based on the delivery data, have to necessarily wait till the end of the day and use this information for their next day's trading session. So in deliveries data, what we show here is a simple chart like presentation where the length of the bar tells you what is the total number of quantity traded. So you see on the axis on top, 20 lakh is the number of shares. And if you click on any particular bar, you can also see what was the actual traded quantity. It was 17 lakh 32,000 shares. However, only 37% of it, the delivered quantity, was there, which is highlighted in the dark blue shade here. Whenever we see that the delivery is less and the traded quantity is very high, the delivered percentage is low, it indicates that the volume in the market was speculative in nature. They were all intraday trades and people did not take positions at the end of the day. However, if we see in a stock that the delivery is very high, that means most of the people who traded actually did positional trading and took the stock back home. Now this has a significant impact on the price, and whenever we see that the price is increasing or decreasing following a particular trend, and the same is happening with very high amount of delivered quantity, it gives a very clear indication of the positive or negative interest in that stock. How to identify such stocks? We have the scans tool, and once we go to that, we'll have a look at it. We have technicals. The next tab, sorry, I missed out on a point, that a unique thing that we do is that for looking at this delivery data, we give a choice of combining both NSE and BSE quantities together to give you an overall picture of the stock as to in the both markets combined what was the total delivered quantity and the total traded quantity in that stock. Now moving on to the technicals, the first screen here is a very simple screen which gives a quick snapshot of the overall return generated by the stock. Then what was the return? So in 5 years, the return of price 5 years back versus price today is 28%. You may note here that this is not the compounded annual rate. This is not the CAGR. It is a simple calculation of current price vis-a-vis the price 5 years back. And the same is shown for various time frames. It gives a good indication for people who are not very comfortable looking at the charts. This gives a very simple that had you invested in ITC 3 months back, today you would have been richer by 14%. The next screen we have is levels. On the levels tab, we have put in very important price data points. So what we do here is today's open, high, low, close, and this data comes on a 5-minute delay for BSC and a 15-minute delay for NSC. So we prefer during market hours, if you want to see, you can look at BSC data because that is more closer to real time. It will show you what the latest price is vis-a-vis the current day's open, high, low, close and yesterday's open, high, low, close. So the PD here stands for previous day. So on one screen, these 4 data points for today, open, high, low and LTP,
and 4 data points for yesterday, the open, high, low, close. All these 8 numbers we take, and then we arrange these 8 numbers in a descending order, which means the highest number comes on top and the lowest number comes at the bottom. So what you can see, or what you can analyze here, is the stock has been over the last 2 days traded in a range of 289.50 till 299, and in this range of 10 price points, 10 rupees, the current position is standing at 296.70. Now this is coming in green color because this is above yesterday's close. Now, instead of yesterday, if I want to look at the weekly statistics, I just click on W, and this entire last week and this week, the overall highest that the stock has overgone is 306.25, and the bottom you see is 289.50. The same statistics we can see for monthly time frame, for 52-week time frame. So you can see 52-week high, 52-week low, and with respect to this high low, where does the stock stand now? So this gives a very simple view that 250, 322, currently it is at 296. You can look at the moving averages here. So if you see, the moving average on the top is the 20-day moving average, which means that the current price is trading below the 20-day moving average, below the 50-day moving average, which shows a negative trend in the stock or some correction in the stock. Whereas on a longer horizon, the stock is still in uptrend because it is trading above the 100-day and the 200-day moving averages. So moving averages are like a very simple tool to figure out how the stock has been behaving in the last 50 days. It is computed by a simple average of the last 50 days price, and if the last 50 days average price was 301 but stock is trading below that right now, it means the stock is not performing vis-a-vis the last 50 days performance. Now the same we have for exponential moving averages. The only difference between moving average, simple moving average, and exponential moving average is mathematical in nature, it is statistical in nature. Simple moving average is just a simple average. You add up 50 numbers and divide them by 50, gives you a simple moving average. However, in exponential moving average, more weightage is provided to the latest data and less weightage is provided to the data that came before it. So if you have 50 days data, the latest data will have the highest weightage. Yesterday's data will have a little lower weightage. Day before yesterday will be even little lower, and so on. And then the average is computed. Apart from moving averages, we show you pivot points based on daily data. So many people who follow pivot points in intraday trading can simply look at this in the morning and look at these figures and put those figures in their mind and then take their calls on the next day accordingly. Similarly, you can look at Bollinger Band or parabolic SAR data on the same screen. Now, a few things which you may not have known is that we have a superb option on the left side, which is a simple tick mark. If you look at this small square on the left side and you tick it, all of these numbers get selected together, and then this entire price ladder that gets formed gives you all the levels using each of these in one screen, right? Now, some of you who are not into technical analysis may feel that for you EMA is not relevant, pivot points is not relevant, so you can individually also click them on or off and then select those data points which are relevant for you. So for example, I have selected previous day, weekly, monthly, 52-week and SMA, and right now this ladder is composed of these numbers, and you can figure out a few important numbers. If you see, there are 3-4 numbers which are around 286 to 89 range, and there are a few numbers in the 290 range. So you can figure out what are the important levels based on the concentration of these various movement points that you see on the screen. Next, there is a single screen. Sorry, one more additional thing I can show you here is whenever you look at any data point, you can click on that data also. For example, I see 52-week high was 322. You can simply click on this and you can know on which day this high was achieved. So 52-week high was achieved on this particular day, which is displayed here. Similarly, I can click on, say, this month high, and I can know this particular data point was achieved on September 3. Obviously both the numbers are same. It got, so all the three monthly high, the last month high was 322.60, and this month high is also 322.70, almost in similar range. So these numbers we can see here. If you click on a particular day, the time is not provided. The latest update time is what is available to us. Moving on to indicators, all the technical indicators here. People who have gone for Stockage subscription but are new in the market, for them we have a simple I mark here, which gives you a very simple definition of what this term stands for. What we feel is, when you're looking at some data point and a question arises in your mind and we can immediately answer that question, the knowledge that we gain in the process is far more deeper than if we go and undertake a full-time course on that. So whenever there is a question in mind, and that's where the world is going, you have a question in mind, you type it in Google and you get the results, and we learn in the process. So for this intuitive learning, we have put eye icons and this page info options everywhere, so that whenever you come to know of a term which you are not aware of beforehand, you can click and have a brief idea of what William percent R means. And then at the bottom of it, we have also tried and put free videos which will take you through a 4-minute, 5-minute training on what William R is and learn in the process. So learning is a very important aspect, and later in today's webinar I'll also tell you about Stockage Club, how club members, many of them are here today, are doing this learning through interaction with each other and through continuous attending of programs. Next, I take you to the fundamental screen, where you get a quick overview of the company. There is a show profile option here. If you don't know what the company does, click on this show profile button and it will give you in text the history of the company, what businesses it does, the important timelines in this company's life, and then at the bottom you can see the entire timeline, in which year, what awards and recognitions it got. So we try to compile this data so that you get a quick overview of the companies. Recently, we also added a direct link to the website of the company, so that if you want more information, we try to give you a 360-degree view, but if you feel that is not enough, you can directly click from here, and inside your app a browser screen will open and you will be able to see what the company's latest things are on the company's own website. Now here I also give you the sector to which the company belongs to and the specific industry within that sector. Now here a lot of people have doubts sometimes regarding the selection of sectors, so I would like to clarify and make a request also. The clarification is, there are companies like ITC which are doing multiple things. They are also into cigarette and tobacco. ITC has a chain of hotels as well. ITC is into retail business now with the clothes line. So the logic normally followed is, the segment that gives it the highest revenue is the segment that we treat this company to belong to. So because tobacco gives the highest amount of revenue to ITC, it is classified under tobacco, although it has interests in other business lines as well. So each sector is subclassified, including so this FMCG sector has one subsector, which is cigarettes and tobacco. I can click on either the sector or the industry from here itself and have a look at the peers of this company. So when I click on FMCG, I am looking at ITC. I've come to know ITC is in the FMCG sector. I can check the market cap of ITC here. I can check the earning per share of ITC here. I can see that ITC is trading at a P of 31.64 here. And immediately I can get into cigarettes and tobacco or FMCG and compare it with the relevant parameters of the various peers that it has. So ITC has a market cap of 363 crores, 363 lakh crores, sorry, this is 3,63,000 crores, and the next market cap by market cap size is VST Industries, which has 4,000 crore market cap. Now I can click on PE This is a feature we introduced in our previous version, version 3.5, and you can see, you can compare the P of the various, peer sectors. Whenever we see a zero in front of any company, it means the PE of this company cannot be determined. So price earning ratio has two components, the price of the stock and the earnings of the stock. And wherever earnings is a negative number, there is a loss, then we do not compute the PE, we display it as zero. So I'm looking at ITC and get into this, uh, and from there I can figure out the various comparative terms, including the return on equity, the debt equity ratio, the price to book value, and we are continuously in a process of deciding what to do next. I get an immediate request here from Mr. Pal, who's wanting that if we can somehow look at a time frame analysis. So it may be coincidental, but that is something we are currently working on, and you can expect that in a month's time. We are planning to give you here on the right side, the change that you see, change 1%, is coming for a 1 day time frame, yesterday's position. But in our upcoming versions, we'll be able to show you the performance of this company over the last 1 week or 1 month or so on. We are working on that. So you can look at more options within StockEdge as we progress. The second screen that you see in cigarettes is the gainers, the losers, etc. So going back to ITC, from within a company, what I showed you is for that company's sector, the broader sector, which includes all FMCG companies or of the industries, we can do a peer analysis, and based on these parameters we can compare among these companies as to where they stand. So if I go get into ROE, you see Hindustan Unilever has ROE of 74% compared to IDC, which is of 24%. And you can dig deeper into it by clicking on, say, Hindustan Unilever. From here you get into the specific ratio tab with the return on equity already opened, where you can see the trend of this. So this is 74%, but this has been going down. So on the fundamentals tab of any company, I'll take you to ITC's fundamental tab here in the ratios before we get into results, and see we can have these three ratios. What is the return on equity? It is 24%. You can click a plus here to see the major components of this return of equity. So if you see, the net profit of the company has been increasing. All ratios that we show here are on a yearly duration. There are no ratio computations right now on a monthly duration. And so you can click on this and figure out. Now, if you see the last 5 years trend, we are not really always interested in the numbers. What we want to see is a trend. 24% itself may not have much meaning to us unless we see there is a growth or a fall. So once you want to look at the details, you can click on this small chart here, and a larger version of the chart appears with the exact numbers. So you can see this ROE, which was as high as 36% for ITC a few years back, has come down to 24% because of whatever reason. And the same thing you can do with the profit as well as the net worth or any other component that we have here. So in Stockage, we have almost around 40 to 50 ratios based on various parameters. And so you can have a brief idea about all major parameters of this company. So how to look at them? If you look at the left top here, the ratios you are right now looking at are return ratios. We can switch this to efficiency ratio, which will tell us how efficiently the company is performing. So EBITDA margin means how much operating profit the company is generating. And you can see in the last year, there is a significant improvement in the efficiency of the company because it has been able to generate higher margin. Now, what are the numbers prior to this? It was 29%. Same thing you can see the EBIT margin. Now, what is EBIT margin? People who only do technical analysis have no real idea of fundamentals. Don't get bothered if you're not clear of these jargons. Just like for a fundamental person, RSI sounds Greek. For a technical person, EBIT or EBITDA may not make much sense, but you can click on this eye icon and learn about the fundamentals as well. So if you look at the various ratios, for example, days of receivables, it is showing as 19.73, which means on an average, the company has debtors for 19 days. Any payment it receives comes after 19 days, whereas the days of payable, anything that the company purchases, it on an average pays back its vendors in 45 days. So this means the working capital requirement of the company is less. So all these are relating to the efficiency of the company. Now we can change this to growth ratios to see how the growth of sales is happening. We can change this to solvency ratios. The most important thing is the debt equity ratio. So right now it is showing no debt. There is no debt in this company as of now. Earlier there was debt. You can see the interest coverage ratio, the current ratio, as well as a few cash flow ratios. So the cash flow per share, rupees 10 for every share, the cash flow the company is generating. And within cash flow, there is a second classification which is called free cash flow. So there are certain times when the company's bank balance has to be locked in for specific purposes and the company does not have right to use that cash free. For example, any unpaid dividends that the company may have of the past, the amount is lying in a bank account, but the company has to keep a separate bank account for the benefit of shareholders who may claim that dividend amount later if it remained unclaimed in a previous year. So that is cash with the company lying in its bank account, but it cannot freely utilize that cash. So a ratio is computed which is known as free cash flow. So any cash which can be used freely is only considered for the computation of this ratio. You can learn about these by reading on this eye icon. Very soon we are also planning to record a few videos for the fundamentals also. So those of you who may have interest may keep looking at this and you may see a few videos coming up which explains the concepts in a little more depth. Now results for every company, the results also we show here in a very short format, in a very simple format. Now if I change this, I can change this from quarterly results to half yearly or annual time frames, and you will look at either 5 half years or 5 years, and the same option of increasing or reducing the size is available. So if I look at say annual consolidated results of ITC, consolidating meaning ITC along with all its subsidiaries, whereas standalone is meaning only ITC Limited. So as a shareholder, to me it is always important to look at the consolidated position so that I can get a wider picture. For example, a company like Coal India Limited would have 9 or 10 subsidiaries, one in each region, and each subsidiary will have its own mines. So if I look at Coal India's standalone profit, that will be a very small amount. The standalone turnover would be very small because it operates through various subsidiaries. So if I look at the consolidated picture, that would add up all the stocks, and these numbers are provided by the company itself. So these are reliable numbers. So when I look at the consolidated view, what Stockage does is, if it sees consolidated data is, it selects consolidated by default. For companies which do not have a subsidiary, Stockage will show you only standalone data. Now, one interesting feature which many of you may not know is why we put this data like this, whereas every possible website or app puts this data in a tabular format. So we feel, and you will see that consistently across the software, that the less the numbers we see, the more they register with us. So we have taken a call that we would try and not show more than 5 to 6 data points on one single screen. So if I have say these 20 data points here, if you see vertically there are around 20 data points and we are showing it for 5 years, we really have a table of 20 into 5 which will be 100 numbers, and no human mind has the capacity to understand those 100 numbers at one go. So we brainstormed a lot on this and we decided that let us put the latest number only, and there too the most important numbers let us highlight in bold so that the user can focus on the top line, the 47,000 top line, 47,000 crores, and the operating profits as well as the net profit. These are the most important numbers. You can just focus on these three, but if you want to get into more details, you can look at the other numbers by clicking on the bar. Now, a few people said that if I want to look at 2017 March balance sheet or results, there is no way I have to get into each chart and look at the data points. Our solution was equally, unique. If on any of these charts you click on a particular bar, all these charts talk to each other, and you can see that the second last bar has automatically got highlighted here, and you can see the entire 2017 March data points on the right side once you have changed that bar. Is this clear? Can I get a few feedbacks on how we are going? Is this fine? Am I being a little slow or a little fast? Some feedback, please, while I get a chance to drink a sip of water. Thank you so much for your positive feedback. Most of you seem to be enjoying it. So that gives me a lot of more energy along with the sip of water. And let me take you through a few more screens. So results are published by companies on a quarterly basis, and only listed companies in India are required to publish these results so that the investors can get information about these companies on a quarterly time frame very quickly. However, every company in India, be it listed or non-listed company, has to publish annual report, but it publishes the annual report a little later. For example, a company having a year closing in March can publish technically the results sometime up to August, conduct a AGM maybe in September, and then this data pertaining to 2018 March for some companies may appear as late as in 2018 September. So financial data is audited data, right? Financial data is audited data, and here you get the annual report of the company, so it gets published a little later. You will see results for a particular year will always come ahead of time. You see here 2017, because I consciously selected 2017 on this tab. I can click back 2018. So 2018 March data is here when I look at annual time frame, but if I look at quarterly time frame, I get 2018 June data also. For these large companies, you would see that you will be able to see 2018 September data starting maybe the first or second week of October. There are certain companies which are very, very fast in publishing the results. They will start giving in the first or second week itself, and other companies will do it maybe by the end of October or by mid-November. So you will be able to see these quarterly data updated very quickly. However, to look at the next financial result data, that will be published only in 2019 March. So we have given you choice to look at both. The financial data is more sacrosanct because it is fully audited, comes with a stamp of the statutory auditor, and is much more detailed. Now what we did was, instead of presenting the annual results and the annual financials in the same format, we thought why not make it a little more interesting. So if you look at balance sheet here, what we show is a screen which gives you the assets and liabilities of the company over the last 5 years. So if you see, the overall assets and liabilities of this company have grown from 40,000 crores to 64,000 crores. Now what are these 64,000 crores? I want to know a little more in depth. So I simply click on the first bar, and then you see the system gives a breakup that assets and liabilities obviously are both 64,000 crores. For people from non-financial background, total assets of a company are always equal to total liabilities, because the company considers any equity investment also as a liability. So ultimately, if the company is making any profit, it considers that this profit is actually payable to the equity shareholders sooner or later. So this balance always matches, and that is why it is called a balance sheet. Now, if I want to get into more details, I click on this total assets to see what this 64,000 denotes. And the system gives me that 37,000 crores of these assets is the non-current assets, whereas 26,000 is the current assets. Any asset which usually has a shelf life of less than 1 year is called a current asset. So my balance in my bank account would be current asset. My investment in maybe some short-term funds, liquid funds, would be current assets. However, any investment that a company has made in a land or a building or some assets, some plant and machinery, computers would all be non-current assets because their span of life is more than 1 year. Now, if I click on this 37,000, I can get more details. How much is fixed assets? How much is investments? And anytime you want to go back, you can click on this white empty space below the bar to go back one level. Till you reach the top, you can navigate through this single financials tab to look at all the 200, 300 data points that we have in an interactive fashion. So I get into total assets. Let me look at the current assets this time. Out of 26,000 crores, short-term investments the company has is of 10,000 crores. The company has inventories or stock of 7,000 crores and cash at bank of 2,000 crores. Now once I get into inventories, you see the bar has turned gray, which means you cannot navigate any deeper in this. However, one beautiful analysis you can do is click on all years. If you click on all years, you can see the inventories word on the top left flies down to the left side and gives you a year-wise position of inventories. So this in one way tells us that the company has become smarter in its inventory management, because although the sales is increasing, the amount of inventory that it has to keep in its warehouse till the point it is sold is decreasing, which means the cost and efficiency of the company is increasing. So this way I can look at any of these numbers. Let's look at all years. I can also move into 2016 and get into further details. All the details that you now see are of 2016 to have you a visual, distinction as to in which year you are. I'll show you a very small subtle thing that we have done. Each year is lighter than the previous year. If you look at the colors, the latest year it is always in the deepest color. So at any point of time, I am looking at 2014 data. I can also get into 2014 assets, current assets, inventories, or any other details from here. But these are light colored, so you cannot confuse yourself that while navigating through the chart, instead of looking at 2018, if you by mistake look at 2014 or 15, the visual color will help you to not do this mistake. So these are small things that we have to brainstorm while we develop the app, so that in the long term the ease of use becomes very, very high. So similarly, as we show the assets, you can also look at the liabilities of the company. And let me move to 2018 liabilities section. You see the company only has liabilities of around 2,000 crores non-current, which means long term, and 9,000 crores short term. Most of this 64,000 is shareholders fund, which means it is the right of the shareholder. It is the worth of his investment in this company, 52,000 crores. If I get into this, it tells me how this 52,000 crores came into being. So the face value of the company, the initial amount that the company raised as capital was only 1,200 crores through capital and 1,800 crores through share warrants. And most of the shareholders' worth that the company has generated is through reserves. Reserves denote the total profits that the company have made till now, and they have not spent. They have just added it to the worth of the shareholders. They have reinvested that profit into the working of the company. 49,000 crores over the years of existence is what they have done. So all these numbers help us understand the past of the company, the trends that it has made. From balance sheet, I can move into profit and loss, and you can see in similar fashion I can navigate down and actually get into individual expenses also. So you can see employee cost of ITC is 3,760 crores, and also look at a trend of that. I can look at how much the company is spending on power and fuel and how that has changed over the years. The power and fuel cost is going down or going up or remaining almost static over the years. Now the most important thing here is also cash flow statement. From cash flow statement, we can figure out what are the various sources of cash that the company has. Net cash inflow in the company during the year, cash means cash or bank balance, was 339 crores. which was below by 165 crores from the previous year. And if you click on this net change, you can see how the cash movement happened. From operations of the company, it generated 13,000 crores of cash and then used that cash for investment purposes to the tune of 7,000 crores. And from financing, they kind of maybe repaid loans or repaid their debt or gave dividend. So all that is cash from financing. So they paid around 6,000 crores. So this gives you lot of insight within this single screen, which is not directly visible, but you can keep navigating. Our objective has always been that while being on the app, you keep interacting with the app and spend your 15-20 minutes in a very useful manner instead of spending it on maybe unnecessary forwarding or chats that we do, right? To go back to the cash flow, anywhere outside, if you click navigate deeper. If you want to go back, click below in this white space. You can click on the background to go back till the time you reach the top again, right? Now moving on to the shareholding pattern, you can look at who is holding shares in the company, what are the public shareholdings. And similar to others, here also you can see a trend, a downfall of FII shareholding in the stock, an uptrend of DII shareholding so evidently visible over the last 9 quarters. The domestic institutions have been increasing their stake and the foreign institutional investors have been reducing their stake, whereas the retail audience has also been increasing its stake. So you can look at all these parameters, including names of shareholders, the names of board of directors, etc. Let me move forward. I also need to cover scans, I think, which is most important. So this 360-degree view, because I'm explaining, I'm taking a lot of time. Once you have learned it, you can just swipe through your app and within 10 minutes, you can have a full perspective of any new company or any existing company that someone may have referred to you or you want to know in more details, right? So there is a small tab here on future which shows you total open interest for a particular day for all the expiry dates, or you can look at specific expiry dates. I'll not get into the details of this, but you can look at it later on, and if you want, you can learn by using page info. You can also look at the option chain. Here too we have tried to present the option positions at the end of the previous day in a graphical format so that we can see which are the strike prices where the highest option interest is there. Now let me get back to updates here, which gives me all the news items that we had seen in the top screen. In the updates tab, it gives me a consolidation of all the news that we have put in, our team has put in over the various days. So since June, what are the important news that has happened in this particular stock? What are the important announcements that the company has made or is making on a day-to-day basis? Any corporate actions, like what dividend the company has been paying over the last few years. So you can see this company has been consistently paying dividend, sometimes 5 rupees, sometimes 6 rupees, 6.25, 8.5, and so on. Now, if you feel this much information about one company is not enough, do not get disheartened, because we have Google Feeds right away integrated here. So this page is powered by Google News Feed, and any news that is going on in this company, we do a Google search and display the results, and you can click on this and get into anything latest that may have been happening in the company and we may have missed out on that. So if you look at this end to end, financials, technicals, prices, charts, all of this, the 360-degree view of stocks you can have on StockEdge. I'll proceed to scans. So we have around half an hour with us and maybe 15 minutes of questions we'll take. If we require, we can have more sessions in future, because Stockage with every passing version is becoming much more deeper. We are adding features throughout. So let me get into scans. So what are scans? Till now, what we have seen is we can get into daily updates and look at all information for the current date, or we can get into stocks and look at all the information that we have with respect to one particular stock. But how do we get to a particular stock? How do we find out what does a particular stock, how to reach that stock, how to identify or how to generate that idea? For that purpose, we have created this concept of scans, which is unique to an extent, because here we have classified these scans into 5 6 categories. Price scans means if I am trying to look at or find out any particular stock based on the price movements that the stock is happening. So let us look at, for example, 3-day behavior scans. And I have a criteria. There are so many criterias are predefined. I want to look at stocks which are making higher high for the last 3 days in the entire market. Which are the stocks that are continuously making higher high for the last 3 days? Till the time we put this in StockEdge, I am not aware of any other platform where this data was available in a very lucid format, and that too for free. So this is something we wanted to empower individual investors and traders to get hold of this information, and we added this scan tool. So when I click on making higher high for 3 days, you see you get a stock named Star Cement, which is making higher high for the last 3 days. India Hotels, which again is making higher high for the last 3 days. Now you can obviously validate this by clicking this further, and now that you have the chart with you, if you see, the system automatically took you from this link to the candlestick chart where you can actually confirm what kind of a higher high this company has been making. You can click on individual tabs to look at the exact numbers and understand this trend. So this reversal that has happened in this company, followed by lot of small red candles and then followed by 4 green candles making higher highs, is something you have identified without probably having any idea that this stock would have cropped up here. Now, among the various stocks that are listed here, right, here too we try to act a little, in an intelligent fashion, and we show you that stock on top which satisfies this criteria by the highest margin. So when I'm looking at higher high for 3 days, I can actually compute what was the value 4 days before. So the 4 days before value was 100. This was the high 4 days back, and the latest high is 124.10. So almost 23 points jump the company has made. So among all these stocks which have made higher high, Star Cement is here for a reason, because it has done a change percentage of 23%. So yesterday's movement was 5%, that continuously and consistently comes on the right side. Right side values gives you the previous days or the previous day's performance. But whichever scan you are in, we compute values and try to rate among these scans which company should come on top based on some mathematical logic. So in this case, it is the change over the last 4 days which is most relevant. And if you see, the second is 9.6, third is 8.2, and this is the sort order here. Now, paid members, which all of you are, get access to further filtering options within this list. So many a times it so happens that among various stocks, we know in a particular time frame, for example, one sector has been performing and we would like to look or focus on a specific sector. So within this result of making higher high, I can click on this filter tab here. Like most of the e-commerce websites have a filter tab, we have added a simple filter tab which says restrict my result not to all the stocks. So the default selection was major stocks being those stocks which are either in Nifty 500, NSE 500 or BSE 500, or by sector. So I can select that show me only auto stocks, and you will see no stocks have been found which have been making higher high for 3 days. We saw the trend. Most of these stocks have been falling over the last 3 4 days. So probably we don't see data here. So let me change this and look at some other sector where probably I can find something. So if I select healthcare sector, I get Apollo hospitals having made higher high on each of the 4 days. You click on this and on the chart you can validate. Although candles here, two are red, two are green. But if you look at the high, if I try to plot the high, every day it has made higher high. This is what this tool can do for you. So this is just one example. Under prices, you have so many types of scans, previous day breakout, last day, last month, and so on. Moving on, the delivery scans, the volume and delivery scans, if I click, you see a lot of options here. I showed you the delivery percentages. If I want to look at companies which are having very high trade and delivery quantity, I just click and I see Pfizer Limited has had very high, and it tells me and it orders it accordingly. It is having 4.5 times of the average delivery and 2.9 times of the average volume. How do I validate that? When you click on this scan, automatically you see the deliveries tab open this time, and here you can see in the chart the last 5 days average. We consider the last 5 days average was very small as compared to this one. So each day, if you look at these numbers, you will be able to figure out the various options. And look at this, I removed the pharma option from the top from the filters. Apar Industries is having 12 times the delivery, and it is so very clear in this chart that this has had seen a sudden delivery and volume spurt. So there must be something which you need to look deeper into. Now remember this, these individual scans help us to identify a particular company based on one particular parameter. So it is not a straight away decision that I can go and buy this stock or sell this stock. Let's move on to technical scans. So the first few scans were free. Most of the new scans that we have created are part of the advanced versions which you have access to. So let me look at RSI, which is one of the most popular. If I go to RSI, look at RSI Bullish. In the free version also you can see these, but the addition that has been done for the paid users is that if I click on this BASF stock, not only can I see the candles, it plots the RSI by default at the bottom. If I am looking at a, say, a Bollinger Band scan, so what stocks have crossed the Bollinger Band from above, which is a bearish indicator, it gives me a list of stocks, and the moment I click any particular stock, it shows me the Bollinger Band, and you can very clearly see here by zooming in how the stock has breached the value of the Bollinger scan here, right? So these scans, most of these scans are tightly integrated with our edge chart, and that is the edge we want to give you, that once you have got into a scan, we want to give you a pre-cooked chart so that you do not have to manually plot those indicators again. And this is one of the reasons and one of the challenges why we have not yet provided an option to save the indicators and save your own template, because we want to act smart, act intelligently, and give you those indicators plotted automatically based on the context from which you are reaching that page. Then let us move to fundamental scans. And here you can see all the ratios that we had seen earlier. Similar to those ratios, you can scan the companies based on profitability, based on turnover, valuation, etc. So let me get into turnover and figure out what companies have shown a very high increase in the quarterly sales. And there you go, Swan Energy has shown 8 times the profitability as compared to the previous quarter. So 2017 June, they were at 74 crores, and now they are showing a profit of 604 crores. Similarly, HEG Limited was at 213 crores, and this year they have shown a quarterly profit in June quarter, which is 7 times, which is at 1500 crores. And most of us know already what kind of price movements these companies have shown. Look at the chart. Just look at the chart. What a phenomenal growth it has shown in terms of sales. as well as in terms of the net profit. And if you go and look at the price chart for 5 years, the story is very clearly reflected in the chart itself. So there is some reason why the price has increased, and undoubtedly, if the sales, if the profit of the company continuously increases in this fashion, then obviously the price or the worth of the company will also increase. Through these scans, the objective should be to identify these companies when they are at this stage, or this stage, so that you can enjoy this uptrend by looking at these parameters. So the scans help us to figure out companies which are following particular parameters, and try and spend more time into getting into other details of these companies, and then take a wise call. So let's move on. Like the fundamental, around 45 to 50 scans are available under fundamentals, which you can scan through. And then we have candlestick scans, where we have candlestick patterns. For example, let us look at bullish scans. Those of you who may not have any idea about candlesticks, I'll show you a very simple white Marubozu candlestick chart pattern, which is very simple to understand. If you are aware of candles, simply the concept of candles, that it plots open, high, low, close. Any candle which is fully green, which means when it opened in the morning, it opened at the bottom, and when it closed in the evening, it closed at the high. So it's a simple green block candle. It is called a Marubozu candle, and what it signifies is throughout the day this particular company had positive emotion in the market. It didn't go down once it started going up. Now obviously the price may have seen ups and downs through the day, but at no point it breached the low, the open, and at no point it went above the high. When it closed at the high. So this is one simple example of a candlestick pattern. So these are geometrically derived, and we have put in a lot of statistical algorithms, many of them custom we have built on our own, which try to identify these kind of scans. So someone who is looking to scan for maybe a bottom fishing kind of a thing, at least in the technical terminology, you are wanting to get into some stocks which are falling and now want to show a reversal pattern, you can look at bullish reversal scans, which means there was some downtrend. If you look at bullish engulfing, for example, and you see the icon itself is self-explanatory. Let me click on I and show you the icon. It shows there was a downtrend, and then the downtrend was followed by a red candle, which means a falling price candle, and the next day it showed a green large candle which engulfed. Engulfed means if you see on both sides it is larger than this red candle. Now this is a geometric identification of this stock, but what it shows is from a downtrend a sudden positive change. So probably this may be the first symptom of a turnaround, of a correction point, or an entry point for that matter. So let us look at stocks which have a entry point here, because they are satisfying this particular condition. Can this single condition be enough? Probably not. But if you look at these small candles, look at Menon bearings, clearly it reflects a downtrend, and today suddenly this change has come. So this got me interested, and I got into the chart of this. If you see continuous streak of red candles followed by one single large green candle. Let's increase the time frame to 6 months, and now you know the stock was always on top, it has bottomed out here, and then suddenly you see that there is a large green candle. So obviously there is an opportunity here. It is up to you to look at all the other parameters of this stock to identify what is the time frame you are wanting to invest, or are you looking at a trading opportunity, and based on that you can take a call. But no doubt Stockage has been able to identify a possible turnaround situation here. Turnaround not necessarily in a fundamental sense, but at least from a price point, I think reversal would be a better term to justify that. There is a reversal pattern that is showing here. So this is how you can, identify various patterns based on these technical indicators. Now let me take you to the last part of this session, which only the paid members of Stockage have access to, which is combination scans. And this is perhaps one of the most powerful features that we have, wherein you can combine multiple scans into one single combination, save it, and then every evening all you need to do is just click on that combination and figure out if there are any stocks where all the scans in that combination have been satisfied or not. So let's try it out. I get into my combination scans. I already have a few here, but for your benefit, I'll try to create a new one. I'll give it a new name. So let us take the same example and say reversal combo. So it's something I would try and create right here. I want to create some kind of a reversal strategy where I would try to identify if any stock has reversed, and I'll click on add. So you see a new link has come here, which is called a reversal combo. I click on the reversal combo. So obviously I need to add certain scans to it. Right now there are no scans inside this combination. So to add scans, I have to click on the plus sign on the top here. Once I click on this plus sign, it gives me all the scans that you have seen in the stocks. So let me search for a scan, or I can just manually navigate. And because we started off with the candlestick scans immediately prior to this, let me get into, just give me a second. For some reason, the screen has frozen. So I'll go back and I'll show you one of my created scans. Am I audible? Is the connection fine? Another half an hour will take. Screen has stopped. Please hold on while I try to restore the screen. So I go into my Stockage and I click on my combination scans. I need to log in before I do that. So my combination scan is open. And I had created a few scans here. Let us first look at them and then I'll come back to reversal combo and we'll try to create a combination scan of our own. So one scan that I created here, it's called Tech Fun. Just a demo strategy we created. So what we did was we added these 5 scans here, right? Similarly, in a different combination, for example, swing trading, we added 4 scans here, which are high traded and delivery quantity, 20 EMA crossing 50 EMA, quarterly net profit growth, and consistent cash from operations. So once you add these 4 scans, by clicking on this plus icon, the system will try to find out which are the stocks which are satisfying each of these 4 conditions. And if you get into that, you see the system shows There is no perfect match. There is no stock that it could find within the major stocks that satisfies all these scans. However, there are a few stocks which are almost there. Almost there means, for example, these stocks that you see here are satisfying 3 out of these 4 conditions. So Aarti Industries is having higher trade and delivery quantity, is seeing a higher PAT, and is making consistent cash flows. But this third, fourth condition of 20 EMA crossing 50 EMA is not getting satisfied. It is up to you to decide whether you want to get further into this or you want to simply ignore this. Now, if I remove any of these conditions, you will see that these 3 scans remain. So there are 3 combinations. These are 3 scans within this combination, and the system will give you a list of stocks where all the 3 stocks are getting satisfied, and this time you'll see a lot of perfect matches are there. Obviously, within combination scans also, we are providing you an option to filter further, either by importance, all stocks meaning every stock in the market, major stock meaning top 500, the NSE 500 or the BSE 500 stocks, only NSE stocks, only BSE stocks, only F&O stocks. So if you are wanting to do trading, probably you can restrict yourself to F&O stocks because there is high liquidity in them, and there you can see these all stocks are satisfying all the 3 conditions. Now let me get and try and create the new combination and see if this works this time. So I go to volume scan. On my screen, I'm facing some issue with this adding thing, probably because this is a demo app that I have created specially for providing this demo to you. On your mobile phones, you'll be able to do it. It's the simple interface where you click on a star. It's a little slow out here. So once you click on that star, the particular scan will appear here. So we can create multiple scans here. In this version, you are provided with a choice of adding up to 10 scans per combination. Why only 10? Because every criteria is restrictive. So for example, I am looking at a single scan. It may give me a result where 400 companies have satisfied that scan. But if I add a combination of 2 scans together, out of those 400, only those which also satisfy the second condition, which will be probably say 150 stocks, will come up. So as and when I'm adding new scans to my combination, the result will see a decrease in numbers. So adding 10 scans would usually mean that you will not find any stocks inside that combination. So 10 we feel is a fairly large number for this purpose. You have to very intelligently combine scans. I'll give you a few examples. For example, we looked at the bullish engulfing pattern. If I add bullish engulfing candlestick scan inside a combination, but I want to also add that that particular stock must have also had high delivery quantity. So I add 2 scans now, bullish engulfing, also I add high delivery quantity. Now the beauty here is you can combine fundamental scans and technical scans together. So once I have added these 2 technical parameters, that the stock has seen a bullish engulfing pattern and that it has also had high delivery quantity, I may add that this company should not be a fundamentally a very bad company. So at least it must show higher turnover. So I add a third criteria that the company is a growing company by adding a fundamental scan to it, which is high turnover. So now, if I was earlier relying on only one single scan, the next time we would be able to show you the result of all these 3 parameters being satisfied. This in a way helps us to try and go deeper and deeper and reduce our focus list. And once we have a short focus list, in those 3 or 4 stocks only, we can restrict our search and do a 360-degree analysis on those 3 stocks and then take a position on those stocks. So this is about fundamentally about the combining these stocks, these scans into combination scans. Now club members, here We also participate with club members on the chat on WhatsApp. We have a Funda Learn section there, a chat group, and a technical learning chat group where we keep discussing. And a lot of club members also put their ideas on what kind of combinations and what kind of strategies they can create. And we want to have a culture of peer learning whereby we as well as you can learn from each other's experiences and each other's ideas, so we can create our own combination scans and then participate and share that scan in the group for everyone else to evaluate. We can share our results with everyone so that we can figure out what kind of ideas and what kind of strategies we can implement. So this was about combination scans. With this, I think I have covered very relevant topics, and I've covered most of the paid features that we have. I think this is good time to go for a few questions or any missing part you would like me to cover. So can we have a few questions, please? We have around 20 minutes, and I'll be happy to answer your queries with respect to the usage of Stockage. Any queries? Levels in index page is something that we need to put. It is not yet there, so it is in our to-do list. Let's see how quickly we can do that. If you want to know, okay, Mr. Neogi wants to know how to look at the version number of his software. We can click on this left menu, and you have a section called About and Help. And when we click on About and Help, it shows us at the bottom the version number. Right now, because it is demo, you will not be able to see the version number on my screen, but in your app, below the About app, you will be able to see the version number of the app, and you'll be able to figure out if your app has been updated or not. Okay, some people, I don't see the name, are wanting to have more time frames inside the moving averages. So we are providing 5 different time frames. One is the 5-day, 20-day, 100-day, 50-day, and 200-day. And immediately we do not intend to increase any new to this set because we feel that these broadly capture the meaning. Do we have a scan for decrease in owner share is a question put up by Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Ahmed Taj Mohammed, thanks for the question. If I get into scans, under fundamental scans, shareholding scans, there is a scan called increase in promoter holding and decrease in promoter holding, which tries to identify which stocks have seen an increase in the promoter holding or a decrease in the promoter holding. So let me try and log in here again so that I can show you the log features once more relevant to the question. I go to the scan, fundamental scans, shareholding scans, and which companies have shown an increase or a decrease in owner shares. You click here and there you get the list, and you can also see you can restrict this to major stocks or you can change it. Once you are in a particular company, you can click on this and it will straight away take you to the shareholding tab where you can see the details of this fall. And obviously all these numbers that we provide, we are not combining these data points or compiling these data points on our own. We are dependent on third party vendors who provide these kind of data points to us. So we request all of you to cross verify any such major change numbers from the company's website or from the exchange website. If you are taking a major call or a trading position or an investing in that stock, cross verify a few numbers. We cannot guarantee the perfection of every number, but having said that, we take enough possible measures to make them as close to reality as possible. So Mr. Kanga Sabapati KA wants to know whether Stockage covers all listed companies and BSC and NSC. Yes, sir. Stockage covers all the listed companies, but you have a choice. When you are scanning on companies, you can restrict it to major stocks. So by default, only here there is a restriction on major stocks, which you can remove, and then all the companies appear. If I go and search on the top, the search tab on the home page has capability to give you information about all the stocks of the companies. Mr. Vijay Raghava, thank you for your question. Your question is whether Google Feeds are live or at the end of the day. So let me tell you, Google Feeds, as and when you click on Google Feeds, we give a live search on Google. The results are displayed to you, so they are live. Google Feeds are not updated at the end of the day. A very good question from Anonymous comes, which is asking me what is the meaning of current period in a scan. So let me go to scans and let me go to fundamental scans to explain the concept. Suppose we get into a profitability scans and high return on equity, or for that matter, let me take quarterly net profit growth. Now, since this particular scan is based on quarterly data, we are getting stocks where for quarter 2018 June, there is a distinct improvement over 2017 June, which gives us a list of a lot of companies. Now, right now, June quarter, it's been almost 3 months of the June quarter being over, and you will see most of these companies will give you data of June. But think of a situation when we are, suppose, on the 15th of October, and only 50 companies till now have announced their results for September. What do we do in such a situation? Do we show the scan results of only September quarter to you all, or we show you whatever is the latest available data for each company? So after a lot of brainstorming, we decided that just because one company has published their September results does not mean that we should stop showing you June data. For any given company, whatever is the latest available information to us, that we try to show. So we will show you June data or September quarter data, while the entire September quarter period, which means till December, these 2 quarters data we will show you. If a company has published September data, we will show you September quarter data. But if the company is yet to publish September quarter data, we will be showing you the June quarter data. However, some of you may feel that no, we are not interested to look at past data because we are regular users of Stockage and we have already seen the June data. Now we want to restrict our search only to September data numbers, even if that may mean that a lot of companies will be missed out of it. So for this purpose, what we do is in the filter tab, we have an option to search by period. And if you say show only current period, it means currently, because so from 1st October, you will be able to see if on 1st of October, if you click on show only current period, then only the September data will be shown to you all. And you will be able to identify if there is any major profit growth happening in any of the companies, only considering the latest data points. So this is a very powerful tool for fundamentals. For technicals, since we are giving end of the day, every day at the end of the day, we only see current period. So this filter is not really relevant for technical scans. But when we make a combination of fundamental as well as technical, and there it becomes relevant, because for the fundamental scans, the system will try to only look at the current period scans. I think that answers this. The next is how to get Stockage on PC screen, as looking at the sale is painful for the eyes. Mr. Shekhar Sawant, we have been thinking of creating a PC version of Stockage, but Stockage is a very, very deep product and it will take us some time to create a PC version for it. So immediately we do not have a solution for this, but we have for future plans whereby we may be launching Stockage for the web. The next query is from Mr. Anjan Neogi. My version is 3.5. Is it updated? Yes, 3.5 is the latest version. Can we have a few sample combination scans for technicals and fundamentals to start with? Mr. Nelvin George, thank you so much. We will figure out, let us think about it, if we can create a default number of combination scans. As of now, we do not have any such scans. Some ready scans are not there in combinations. One risk we feel is once we start giving our combinations as samples, many people may feel that that is the only thing they should look at, whereas we want you all to apply your own, knowledge base and create your own scans. But it is a good suggestion. We'll try and create that in the future. Mr. Shinde again is asking, color of moving average lines are very identical. I take this as a very positive feedback. I think we had received a mail from a couple of people also regarding this, and we will try and change this. So all 5 moving averages, we will try and have different colors. So in upcoming versions, Mr. Shinde again escalated many times, but not yet changed. Uh, any feature request that you provide, sir, it takes a lot of technical effort on our part, and we are simultaneously working on new features also. So we do not have a choice. We cannot have new feature requests resolved within a predefined timeline. But all these points which are relevant and a lot of feedbacks we receive, we would try to do it as soon as possible. How can we use the IPO section? Shivani Chabra, it's very simple here. We have a IPO section on top where we try and give you what are the upcoming IPOs, what are the ongoing IPOs, and what are the IPOs which have already got listed. It gives you a very brief idea, a quick idea of what are the IPOs that are going on. So currently, for example, AK India Limited, the IPO is going on, 28 lakh shares are at offer price is 11 rupees. The close date is 3rd of October. You can click on this, get a little more detail about the company, and you have the company's website link as well, so you can understand, read about the company. In the recent update, we have also added a choice where you can download the entire prospectus of the company. So every company which gives an IPO gives a prospectus detailing every possible financial detail about the company. So that entire document, which may run into huge number of pages, is available here. So before you invest, it is advisable you go through it. You can look at the names of promoters, what their current shareholding is, to figure out more details about the company. And I think that's broadly about it. You can look at a few recently listed IPOs to figure out how the IPOs perform. So if I look at, for example, say Sumit Woods Limited, which got listed at 43 rupees, I get into the details and I can again click Sumit Wood Limited to look at the normal price chart of this company and see since listing how this company has behaved. I reach my normal 360-degree view panel of this particular company. So this is broadly about IPO. It is more of informatory in nature. Mr. Shekhar Sawant, what filters to add for reversal scan? I think you can look at all the reversal patterns and various other strategies. I think today's webinar is not the right platform for discussing individual strategies. And I, in fact, may not be the best person to do it. From time to time, we keep conducting a lot of webinars on eLearn Markets, which is our own learning platform. And you can just go to elearnmarkets.com and look at the various webinars where we call market experts And on Saturdays like these, we conduct a 2-hour program, usually priced at rupees 500, or if the faculty is a very reputed faculty, maybe at max rupees 1000 a webinar, and you can attend these programs and hear it from the mouth of people who have experience in the respective strategy. Stock market is a very deep subject. There are a lot of strategies in the market, and different people have different experiences to share. So we feel it's a continuously good process to go through all these strategies. For those of you who are not in the Stockage Club, let me take another 2-3 minutes to explain you the concept of Stockage Club, because a lot of these questions that you have, you may not find a platform to get an answer to that, but in Stockage Club we are providing these chat groups where you can put your questions and our knowledge team can respond to these questions on a real-time basis during office hours. Usually they try and answer as many questions as possible, and existing Stockage Club members at the end of this workshop will have a feedback where you can let us know if you have any specific observations regarding this. And we have till now, we have over almost 200 club members, and we feel that in that platform these strategies, what reversal strategies can be used or how you can do a particular thing, can be answered on a real-time basis. And at the same time, you get access to 12 paid webinars in a year, through which you will be able to learn continuously from the experts. Any webinar that you see, including this one, the recording of the webinar will be available to you in your panel on elearnmarkets.com, or we'll share a link with you so that you can look at it again. Next question is from Vijay Raghav. For indices, we do not have levels yet. Yeah, we do not have levels yet. We will try and include that in the future. How to post suggestions, Mr. Raghav and everyone else who is listening, you can write to us at support@stockage.com. An email is always a better way to send your feedback, because there you can clearly communicate and it gets recorded in our chain. So we will sooner or later look at your suggestions. At the same time, let me tell you that we receive a huge number of feature requests and suggestions, and so we may not guarantee you that your suggestion will be implemented or not, or how soon it will get implemented. But if a lot of people are asking for the same request, then obviously we will prioritize it. Kindly add scan from stocks above 200 DMA. We already have that scan. Mr. Neogi, many thanks for such a beautiful explanation. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Pramod J, how were you about to create combo scan for reversal scan? So right now you can just combine a few scans. For example, select any of these scans in reversal strategy in under Candlestick Scans, and add your own fundamental and other technical criteria like price and volume, and you'll be able to learn. Shivani ma'am, again, can we export the scan results to Excel sheet? No ma'am, we cannot permit you to transfer to Excel. Mr. Premal Parekh, I don't know, that's Mr. Sorry if it's Miss, but the question is, if we wish to scan stock as per market cap. So I have good news for you. People who want to scan based on market cap, in the upcoming version we are releasing an additional filter whereby any scan result you can further filter based on its market cap. So you can restrict your search to mid cap, or you can restrict your scan to the large cap stocks. We will also be adding an option whereby you can filter stocks by the price of the stock. So for example, you can filter that give me only stocks which are of less than rupees 10, or give me only stocks which are higher than rupees 1000, and the system will be able to do that for you. Mr. Pal is asking, when will we get option Greeks? Currently we do not have a plan or any intent of giving you advanced option tools on this app. Stockage is very clearly focused on delivery based transactions. Whatever limited options we have relating to derivatives, is only for the sole purpose of looking at the impact of open interest or the strike prices on the underlying stock. So we do not even show you the future prices of the various future instruments that are there. So within Stockage, probably you may not see option Greeks as of now. Mr. George is asking, can we have a company compared with its peers fundamentally or technically? So fundamentally, we have shown already as per the new option that we have, if you get into any sector, so if I get into, for example, alcohol sector, I can compare all these companies based on either market cap or P ratio or price to book value ratio or debt equity ratio, return on equity. So all these fundamental parameters, you can do a quick comparison on the screen. If you are inside any particular company, for example, we were inside ITC, we could go to fundamental overview and click on the respective sector, and there the peer comparison thing appears. So I think we can already do it. Technically, we don't think there is something called peer comparison. So it may be a topic we would need to delve deeper and figure out how to do this. Mr. Vijay Raghav, filtering by large cap, mid cap will be introduced in the upcoming version. It is not there right now. Wait for a few days. Whatever next version comes will have that feature. We have already built it. Mr. Parekh, can we get an overall view of sectors performing during market hour? The best thing you can do for now is you can click on this Nifty tab during market hours and look at these sectoral indices. Both NSE and BSE give you sectoral indices whereby you can see how the bank stocks are performing, how the IT stocks are performing, how the healthcare stocks are performing based on these indexes. And these indexes are provided by the exchanges themselves, so they are updated at 5-minute delay. You can look at them. Mr. Kanga Sabapati, again the same question. I think I'm not being clear. In the upcoming version, when you get inside any scan, in the filters tab here, I will have a new option called buy market cap, under which you will be able to select 3-4 choices will be there, and you will be able to select whether you want to look at the large caps or the mid caps or the small caps. So I think in the next version your query will get solved. So I think I'm done with most of the questions and the time is up. I think all of you had a fruitful session, and I'm sure you must have learned something, at least something in the app which you didn't know of before. Although you are the most powerful Stockage users who have been using Stockage for so long, let me tell you, it's for your love, for your affection, for the feedback that you give, that we keep getting this energy of creating more and more features inside Stockage. I'm sure over the next few years, as we give you more products and more learning tools, you will be able to make enormous wealth in the market. Best of luck to all of you. Our support will always be there. We'll have a small feedback session, so you can give that feedback to us. Feedbacks always help us to improve. The recording of the webinar will be shared to you by Monday. So Monday end of the day, you can expect the recording of this webinar. And if you feel any of the questions went unanswered, you have a question, you can send a mail with reference of this webinar to support@stockage.com, and I would be personally happy to share the responses to you. And most important, uh, you will get a survey form which kindly fill up your responses, your feedbacks, give us enough encouragement to keep going. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you. I'm sure with new versions, I will be meeting you soon again. Whenever we have a new version, we will try and conduct webinars like this, where you can just focus on what new features we have introduced. It can be a short webinar, and I'll try to do that again. Thank you so much, everyone. It was pleasure talking to you all. This was my first webinar, and I'm glad I was able to make most of you happy with this. Thank you so much.